You know those days when everything goes sideways before noon? Somebody missed the bus, the dog got into the trash, and all of a sudden it's 5 o'clock and you're standing there staring into the refrigerator like it's going to manifest dinner magically. Full disclosure, it's not. Yeah, this video, it's for that day. These are 3 of our family's favorite casseroles for those kinds of days. The ones I make for those days when chaos has officially won. And I just need dinner on the table without anybody losing their mind, including me, especially me. These recipes are easy, they're filling, and everybody, and I do mean everybody, is gonna love them. Let's take a look. First up is Cowboy casserole. And if you haven't made this yet, I feel sorry for your family. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is add a little bit of oil to a 13 by 9 inch pan, or spray it with nonstick spray. Either way, that will work. Next, you're going to put the tater tots in the bottom of your pan. And some people put them in there real carefully. I just put them in there. Then we're going to put these in the oven while the meat is cooking. In a large skillet, we're going to cook the ground beef and the onions and peppers. And I'm going to add a little spicy Creole seasoning, you know, the Tony Chachere's that I use a lot. But you can just add salt and pepper. In any case, season the meat however you like. And we're just going to cook this until the meat isn't pink anymore. Once the meat's all cooked and it's not pink anymore, you're going to add in your tomatoes and chilies. And don't drain them first, just add everything in, the liquid and everything else. And you're going to let that simmer for about 5 minutes. You want a lot of this liquid to be reduced and to be soaked into the ground meat. All right, to the meat we're going to add the cream of mushroom soup and the sour cream, corn, and about half a cup of the cheese, maybe a little bit more. Mix that all in there really well. Now we're going to add a little oil to this baking dish. I'm going to add our ground beef mixture to the bottom. This is a really good dinner for kids. This is a kid's kind of dinner, right? What kid isn't going to like this? All right, I'm going to smooth that out, and half of the remaining cheese is going to get sprinkled on top of that. So then you're just going to put the tater tots in there. I'm going to put the rest of the cheese over the top. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil, and I'm going to bake it for 20 to 30 minutes, and then I'm going to take the aluminum foil off and bake it another few minutes to crisp it up. And I'll see you back here then. Okay, y'all, here it is. Here's our casserole, hot from the oven, and it's just so creamy, and it's got so much flavor. It's so delicious. It's not beautiful, it's not fancy, but it's one of those meals that you want to come home to. Next up, Swiss chicken and stuffing casserole. This one is the grandma comfort food of the bunch. Tender chicken, melty Swiss cheese, savory stuffing on top, lots of gravy underneath. It tastes like Sunday dinner at Mima's, except you can have it on Tuesday with about 15 minutes of personal effort. You're gonna love this one. Easy. First thing we're gonna do is get a box of your favorite stuffing mix, and we're just gonna we're not gonna follow the instructions on the box because we're rebels, right? So we're just gonna, instead of using 4 tablespoons of butter, we're just gonna use 2 tablespoons of butter, and I'm going to call that 2 tablespoons of butter. It may be a little bit more, but this is the South. You can never have too much butter. So I'm going to put the butter in the water. I'm going to microwave it, and I'll be right back. Once that water is good and hot and the butter is melted, we're just going to take the stuffing mix and add it in and stir it. And then we're just going to set it aside while we do everything else. The prep time on this isn't very long, maybe 10 minutes. The oven time is about an hour. I kind of like that though, because it gives me time to make side dishes and whatever else I'm making, biscuits or whatever that I'm making to go with it. All right, so there's our stuffing, and we're going to sit it over there so it can get, well, so the stuffing fairy can come along and make it perfect, okay? The next thing we need to do is we need to butterfly chicken breast. Anyway, in order to butterfly it, We're going to take the knife and you're just going to go straight through horizontally. Keep your hand flat on the top, hold it down, and watch where the knife goes because you don't want to add your hand to the chicken breast. And then we're just going to slice all the way through. We're just going to go all the way through and cut it in half so that we'll have 4 pieces of chicken. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pound the butterfly chicken breast thin. We're going to take the chicken breasts and we're going to lay them out like that. And then I'm going to lay some cling seal over them. Sometimes I use parchment, but I was out of parchment today, so I'm just going to put some plastic wrap over them. You want to pound these out uniformly thin whenever you're cooking meat. It's good to make sure that it's cut or pounded out in a uniform thickness. So take my 13 by 9 pan and just spray it with some cooking spray. Now we're just going to lay the chicken in the pan. We're going to try not to overlap it, but sometimes it's almost impossible not to. I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of salt and a little bit of pepper on the chicken. Be careful with this because chicken stock can be salty, condensed cream soup can be salty, cheese is a little salty, and stuffing mix is salty. So you don't need a lot of salt on it, but I feel like this is going to need a little bit. So I'm going to add my Swiss cheese on top of the chicken breast. And I'm going to use half a cup of chicken stock. So we want a half a cup of chicken stock. And then we're going to add a can of condensed cream of chicken soup. And then we're just going to whisk that up. And once again, I should have definitely gotten a bigger bowl. Now we're just going to pour this over the chicken and the cheese. I always like to use one of these rubber spatulas to make sure that I get as much as I can out of there. I'm sure you know what goes next. We're going to take the stuffing, which is a little dry because there's going to be a lot of moisture while it's baking. We're going to take the stuffing and just sprinkle it over the soup mix. You can put your dirty dishes aside because the prep is done, and you're just going to take some aluminum foil, cover your casserole dish, and seal it tight with aluminum foil. So 325 degrees for an hour or so, and I'll see you back here then. All right, we're just going to pull some chicken out of there. Put it on the plate. Look how juicy and tender that is. It makes a gravy here. So you've got your chicken and your stuffing and your gravy all right on the plate. And the cheese is gooey. Look at that. Last is a little recipe I like to call lazy enchiladas or taquito casserole. I don't really care that it's not authentic because I didn't have to roll a thing. And the family thinks I worked hard. I absolutely did not. You want a 13 by 9 inch casserole dish, and go ahead and spray it with non-stick cooking spray so that nothing sticks. Our taquitos, they are frozen, and we're going to leave them frozen. And we're just going to lay these in a single layer in the bottom of the baking dish. Once those are all in the dish, we're going to add the onions and peppers. Still frozen, the taquitos on the bottom, a layer of onions and peppers, and then we're going to put a layer of the green chilies just sprinkled on. I did not put the enchilada sauce on. Enchilada sauce is technically supposed to go over the taquitos before the peppers and everything go on. I am not going to scrape all of those off and start over again. I'm just going to put this on over the top. And now we're going to put it in the oven for 15 minutes. Ooh, that's so hot. Okay, it's been 15 minutes in the oven. So now we're going to put the cheese on. And this takes 2 cups of cheese, or less if you want less cheese, more if you want more cheese, okay? Yep. So you want to make sure that it's at least at 160 to 165. If it's at 160, it's going to sit there for a couple of minutes anyway because you want everything to firm up, and that'll help. It'll raise up to about 165 while it's sitting there. Okay, so we're going to sprinkle on our cilantro, and we're going to sprinkle on our green onions, and we're going to call it done. And then I'm going to cut into this delicious casserole. You ready? Now, I haven't let it sit very long. It may fall apart. If you don't want it to fall apart, or if you're worried about it, and you want the pieces to come out pretty, let it set for 5 to 10 minutes so it can cool down a little bit. Quick, easy, inexpensive, and delicious. And how can you ask any more of a weeknight meal, right? I hope you'll. And that's the lineup. 3 recipes, 3 casseroles that have saved dinner in this house more times than I can count. Pick one, make it tonight, and let chaos have the evening off. Now tell me in the comments, which one are you going to try first? Because I already know about half of you are going to go for the tater tot casserole. I see you, and I'm not judging one bit. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. I'll see y'all in the next one. Love y'all. Bye-bye.